Now that you understand how to get around in the Visual Studio software, let's get started on creating our first project. So with Visual Studio open on the Start page, we'll come over to Start and New Project. Now the New Project window contains various templates for all of the different types of projects that you can create in Visual Studio. Over here on the left, it's going to show you any installed languages that you have. So you'll see Visual Basic, Visual C Sharp, maybe Visual C++, Visual F Sharp, and inside of here are all of the various project templates for that particular language. Now these are going to vary based on the version of Visual Studio that you have installed and any additional add-on project packs that you may have installed as well. We're going to start under the Visual C Sharp section and Windows Desktop. Make sure to select over here in the middle Console Application. A console application is an application that does not have a graphical user interface. It's going to run entirely out of a console window or kind of black, old school, traditional Windows prompt screen window. Let me re-record that. A console application is going to run out of a regular Windows command prompt. So if you remember the kind of old school black console looking windows with the command prompt, that's what console applications are going to look like, right? No graphical user interface that we have to worry about. These kinds of projects are easy for students to learn because they don't require learning a lot of the graphical user or control items that we have to work on creating applications with graphical user interfaces. We can just focus on writing the code and outputting what we want. So once you have the correct template selected, we'll come down here and name our application. So I'm just going to name this First Lesson. Now, by default, Visual Studio is going to save your projects into your My Documents folder, your Windows Documents folder, under the Visual Studio version name. So in this case, Visual Studio 2013, and a folder named Projects. So it's going to create one folder in that projects directory based on the name of your project and put all of the project files in that one location. If you wish to change where your project is saved, you can make that change here, and then we're going to click OK. And Visual Studio is going to create that project for you. Now, if you get any additional windows, just go ahead and cancel. And we're going to take a look at the anatomy of our first C# console project. So what's going to load first is the program.cs file. We can see that up here in the tab. It gives us the name of the file. These using statements at the top are automatically given to us. Using statements are libraries that the project is referencing from inside of the .NET Framework. And these libraries contain different things that we need to use inside of our console application. The namespace is always going to match whatever you named your project. So in this case, the namespace is First Lesson. We'll talk more about namespaces later when we start creating multiple files. Our class, we're automatically given one class. Every project has to have at least one public class as an entry point for the program to run. This class is automatically named Program, but you can change it if you want to name it something else. In a console application, our starting point, or where all the code needs to go that we want to run inside of our console application, goes inside this main. And so in between these curly braces, this is where we'll put all of our code. We can see those line numbers that we turned on previously over here on the left-hand side. Like I said, we'll reference various lines by line number, or if we create errors while we're writing, they'll be referenced by line number down in the down in the error list window. So let's take a look. So in our next video, we'll take a look at the anatomy of our project inside of the Solution Explorer and get started on writing some code so that we can look at how a console application runs.